Part two, building a franchise brand, be organized, Christian Christian. We're going to talk about expectations, reality, going from franchisor to building a thriving franchise system, and everything that's in between. Let's go, Kristen.
Hey, Charles.
So episode two, we talked about becoming that franchisor, those first couple of organic sales. Kristen, we're talking now. We were talking earlier that you just had your planning meeting for 2026. You just got off a coaching call with a franchisee. What is it like from those initial stages where, hey, we really didn't understand franchising. We became a franchisor. You guys are in a very unique space. We had sales. What's that transition from you just entered the market to becoming a franchisor? And let's backcast a little to even how you got to where you are today.
Gosh, I mean, how much time do we have? Right?
Yeah.
It's a
I
lot.
know. And Kristen, if you let me, I'll keep talking on this intro and I'll talk about how we're going to build blueprints for, I don't
Right.
know.
And then, yeah,
But
we're just going to have to go back.
let's
Uh,
start with expectations versus reality. Like,
yeah,
what did you expect it to be and what is it?
that's such a good one. And I'm trying to put myself back into kind of what was that mindset when we started to franchise or when we had three or four, which is such a vastly different mindset than we do now. I think we talked in the last episode that we didn't know what we didn't know. Well, I'll tell you what, we didn't know a heck of a lot back then. And I think my narrative is different and my expectations are different of our franchisees now. And I think if I could go back in time, I would change a little bit of how I talked to franchisees or prospects, excuse me, and then bringing in people because it's harder than I really think I was talking like it was back then, as far as building and growing and scaling your own franchise. And so these prospects, entrepreneurs, wannabe entrepreneurs, they're so starry eyed. And I can sell ice cream to an Eskimo or whatever the saying is, or a ketchup popsicle to a woman in white gloves because I love what we do and I believe so much in what we do. And I have loved building our own Be Organized business that I think I got probably caught up more in that emotion and that excitement of it. Not to say that I think people got derailed or misled, but I think now I talk a lot more level setting that expectation earlier to avoid any of that friction or that aha and surprise of really how hard it is to build, grow, and scale a business. Does that make sense?
That makes so, and again, not because I'm biased. I think that's a genuine statement because as founders, as entrepreneurs, right? Even now, I can't stop talking. If someone asks me how things are going, I'm just going to download and start babbling all these things that excite me. And it's
Yep.
not going to,
Yep.
so I get it. So of course you're not misleading franchisees. You're excited. And as hear what you're saying, as you're building processes and level setting and realistic expectations, what I really hear, Kristen, is I learned I need to protect the brand and business we're building,
100%. And
right?
protect
Because
the franchisees and protect that franchisee coming in. Because if they come in with wrong expectations, man, they're not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy with me or the system. And you know what is it? The saying is, all we want is happy and profitable franchisees. And if we didn't tee that up properly from the beginning, so I do think that we've done a better job. It's not all me, but I am on the Fran Dev side. We definitely have done a better job of changing our narrative so that we have a better level set. But I also think you need that passion, that excitement, that kind of just blatant blind positivity in the beginning because you're getting them on. They're pioneers with you. Those first few franchisees, they're building the plane with us, and they're such an incredible, important part of our story. So I don't know, maybe it works out the way it's supposed to. I don't know.
no, it does, Kristen. I mean, so passion, like people want to follow leadership and passion. And so like you can't fake it. Right. And what I appreciate about what you're saying is we're capping that passion a little. It's there.
Mhm.
We don't want them to see the full extent of it
Yeah.
because we want to make sure they're making an objective decision, not getting caught up in our passion.
Yep, and in
Right.
doing that, then we've layered in different kind of, filtering systems for who we're bringing in to make sure that we are level setting and that they have their eyes wide open, such as, the Zoracle assessments and Bowfly and things like that to just make sure that we are bringing in the right people and communicating the right thing.
So, I mean, think about how you're discussing, you're discussing setting the expectations. You're mentioning running profiles to understand those
Mm.
candidates' goals, um, potential financing sources. I mean, these were not things you were thinking about when you first franchised. You probably didn't, yeah, right?
I didn't know anything about this when we were first franchising. It really was, holy cow, we've got a dream and a prayer. Do you want to jump on and build this with us, which was so fun. And the universe is amazing that brought the right people with the right mindset to us, that really had that pioneer vision. But then the expectation is you've got to continue to build that and grow that and allow them to build their business, and their business is very different than our business. And I think that's something I didn't quite understand, that it's two very different worlds. Yeah.
Kristen, just setting some foundational. Today, you have how many franchisees?
46.
46. Okay. So you sold your first franchise in what year?
2017.
So how many franchises you sell in 2017?
One.
Okay. So then what did the progression look like? We went from 1 to X to Y to where you
Right.
are today.
We went from one in 2017, two in 18, and then we took 19 off to get our foundation in place. Because Lisa and I were still running the home shop, and that we weren't doing anybody any favors doing that. And so took 2019 off to really get our foundation in place and get us out of the daily of our home shop. And then in 2020, we were going to come out of the gates and sell all these franchises, which we all know what happened then. But that was a blessing in disguise too. It allowed us to have more time to really fine tune those systems and processes and how we were going to support, and how we were going to protect the brand, really coming up, really fine tuning those brand standards and style guides, which we still are doing today. But so then we came out. 21 was a big one. We sold, I want to say, well, we sold one in 20 and then six in 21. So that got us to the 10. That's, I think, a unique mark, in franchising. And, it's like having 10 children. There's a lot of pull on you, but there's a lot of expectation that you have to meet. And that expectation changes as you get bigger, and grow.
So when you took the pause, right? So you guys stopped selling, you have two franchisees, you take that pause. When you're thinking about systems, right? Everyone uses that. For you, what were the things you're focused on, even now when you're
Yeah.
thinking about systems?
Right. Well, training, it always is the top of that. Training our franchisees, but also providing materials for them to train their Bs, what we call our organizers. Because to me, it's all about controlling the quality. And unlike a burger shop that has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps that you can do, you put the tomato on, you put the ketchup on, we don't have that, because what we do is so different in every single scenario that we work with a client. So even more so, our systems and processes have to be so accurate and so baked in and so known. And so that methodology that we use when we are with clients in any space, had to really get fine tuned. We're still doing that to this day, right? And now we're at a point where we've got to update the training and improve upon that and add to it. So I guess part of that is you're never done. You're never done putting those systems and processes in place. Or if you are, you're going to get into some problems. But that was really, we needed to fine tune that. And then also just how I remember I was part of a scale up program, and They said if you were to get hit by a bus, is everything you do from, the minute the phone rings to you getting the bill paid, what happens in between, and how few businesses have that written down, those systems, the processes, the how to. That's your systems. And so I really took that to heart, and we did that. It took a long time.
Well, and I mean, it's, you know, people, when they use the term lucky, is it preparation? And, if you think back, if you didn't take that pause moment and really focus on your systems, do you have those breakout years? I think what concerns me, whether it's in franchising, when I'm looking at a brand that may be struggling, or as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you think about why certain businesses scale at a high level and others don't. Sometimes it's they don't take that pause and they keep doing the same thing,
Hmm.
and there's not that recalibration, and so they're putting in the effort, but the strategy didn't adjust, and that fascinates me, right?
And it's a little counterintuitive, because for us who are founders and we've got this thing, this live animal basically in our hands, we want to just keep going. It's really hard almost to tamp down that excitement. It feels wrong because everything is about growth and how many did you add this year and how many numbers, and so it feels wrong to pause. But I will tell you, in the times that we have paused, it's the best. You saw it this year. We paused. We were black because we were revamping our FDD with you, and the best thing we could have done. Are our numbers awesome this year? No. But wow, have we grown and made and taken strides. So I think it's you got to fight that counterintuitive sense that, yeah, pausing is oftentimes what saves you.
Well, and so, like, if we share mindset wise, right? When you took that first pause, you're focused on building that system. And now this mini pause really was focusing on the institution of Be Organized, right? As an enterprise,
Mhm.
not only on what you're delivering for franchisees, but level setting what's the unit economics of our franchise system?
Yep.
What do royalties mean for us? What do territories mean for us?
Mhm.
What is future valuation, right?
Yep. Yep. All those hard conversations you and I had to have.
No, I have them with myself too. I think I even talked to, but Kristen, because I think we forget, and I guess there's all different types of entrepreneurs, right? I like creating, you like, and you
Mhm.
just jump into it and you're like, okay, but I need to you don't think about, let's begin with the end in mind. What's that 5 year strategy?
Mhm.
5 years from now, whether you're selling or not, hypothetically, what does that look like? What is your value? What are your, so it's like totally different mindsets. When you took your first pause, did it ever come into your mind like, hey, maybe we're not going to franchise anymore, or
1000%. Because it's hard and it's scary. And you've got to dream big. You've got to have that big kind of, we call them, the BHAGs, the big, hairy, audacious goals, but you also have to be realistic. And so in one given day, in one given hour, sometimes I'm like, that's awesome. We're going to go this way. And then, you get the devil on your shoulder going, you're an idiot. You're not doing this. Stupidest idea. And so a lot of that waffling back and forth. Luckily, oh my gosh, luckily that with Lisa, my co-founder, and then also Scott, our partner, the three of us are really good. Like when one is down and feeling like this is the stupidest idea we've ever done, the others bring us back up. There was one time when Lisa and I were both down, and that was scary because you got to keep that momentum going. But what was your I'm
no,
forgetting your
no, no,
actual
no. It was
question.
about thinking of quitting, because
Yeah.
when we're having conversations, one of the most difficult questions I get or I have is when someone asks me, "Is this franchisable?" Because so there's certain easy answers there, right? If you're in the wrong industry and it's highly competitive and the wrong capitalization, it's easy for me to say no. Or your unit economics are not where they need to be, it's easy to say you need to wait and build up, or
Mhm.
you don't have the ability to support. Those are the easy ones. But when everything checks the box, where I have a hard time with that question is, the answer is usually you can, but what's going to determine if you succeed or not is you as a founder, right?
Mhm.
That you
Mhm.
have all the support in the world, all the great advice, lawyers, consultants. But, I always use an analogy or an example of, hey, there's going to be two different franchisors that enter this space. One's going to be very successful and the other one's not.
Mhm.
And the variable, the delta, is going to be the founders.
And I think a lot of people think it's the pockets, the funding. And I tell you what, we have not had that. We have not
Right.
had deep pockets. We have really strapped this thing together. And talk about feeling like, wow, maybe this isn't right. That has been an issue, but I think our grit and our passion has made up for it. But yeah, I definitely, I think it goes back to, you can't fake it, and you've got to be in it for the long haul. This is not a quick scheme by any
Well,
means.
so now, like Kristen, so you're at a stage now that very few franchise systems get to, right? Positives too is you're in an industry where you've created some white space. There's opportunity, right? It's very scalable, lower startup cost. Now, as you reflect on, like, when you guys are all together, like, you sit there and say, how did we do this? And what have you, like, how do you interpret what you've done so far, right? People say, like, what, look at what you guys accomplished, and I'm like, and then different books, or that people talk about the gap and the gain, that you
Mhm.
forget where you came from and you don't see all the gain.
Yep.
Like, how do you assess where you are today? Like, if from an entrepreneur standpoint, from a franchisor to franchisor, like, what are you guys thinking about?
Well, we're definitely always thinking about growth because you have to. That's franchising. If you're not going to be thinking that, you might want to hang up your franchising hat, because that is, you've got to protect the brand and grow. But I think it is all too also important. You mentioned that we had our 26 planning yesterday. Well, we spent the first half really reflecting on 2025 and what went wrong, what went right, what all that we brought on. And we ended up all almost in tears, just so proud of what we've done and what we overcame. And it was a tough year. And so I think it's so important to look back, to have that rear view mirror and take a moment. I'm not very good about that from a personal standpoint. I just cruise on. I mean, I will go from a funeral to a party to a, to a bar crawl and not even think in between, right? Because like, it's too frenetic, my life is. And so I'm trying to get a little more still as a person and as a business owner and franchisor, to stop and look back and learn from those mistakes and celebrate those successes. With our 10-year being this year, I feel like we've done a lot of that, and I'm proud of us, of looking back at kind of those big pinnacle moments, or numbers kind of make you stop and pause. But we should be doing that weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually. And there's some real value in that.
Yeah, and I think you're being modest, and for the franchisors that are going to watch this and looking really to insights from your experience, what I could share is, when you say it's a difficult year, you're not talking about franchisees, but again, you made a tough decision where, hey, we're going to focus on our infrastructure, the future direction, and not at a franchisee level, but at an organizational level of what's the best be organized 5 years from now.
Mhm,
You slowed down intentionally, right? And that's not an easy decision. Other people would make the decision of, well, I want to keep selling and keep this focus
mhm,
and keep certain revenues coming in. But again, like the pause you did years ago, I think that just leads to people going in the wrong direction. And like
mhm.
our conversations, like I think you're focused institutionally on the future of the company, which is amazing.
We are, we are, and it's exciting.
Yeah, well, and behind the scenes guys too, for the franchisors, I've like when Kristen and the team, the energy they bring to everything, even where you worry about a franchisee or you're worried about an issue, and I get it. So this year was a pause year. I know, redirected from a smart institutional standpoint.
Mhm, mhm.
That's for sure. So now as you're thinking about franchise development and strategy, I think we could throw this in there a little too. You were in an ecosystem where, because of the hustle you put in and the brand you've built and what's unique about it, you attracted franchisees. I think this year was really the first year you started approaching and considering broker generated leads, and what's been your experience there, Kristen?
Yeah, and thanks to you. I mean, we really did start that with you and introductions from you, and it's been great. I think for other franchisors out there, I know for the longest time I was like, well, one, we can't afford that. We need every dollar that comes in of every fee because we're self-funding this. I get that, but you also have to look at quality, and those leads and just those contacts you're making. So, finally got over that and really have loved the consultants that I've gotten to know. I think it's all about what you put in. You get what out of it, what you put into it. You're not going to sign up with a consultant group and just say, hey, give it, bring me the leads. You've got to work at you. And at the end of the day, relationships, that's what sales are. That's what growth is. You've got to connect with people and resonate. So I've got a nice handful of consultants that really get our brand. We connect. They trust me. I trust them. I love how they work. We've got open communication. They can send me somebody though. And if I have that first conversation, I'm like, why did you send me that person? This is not at all what they wanted. Right. And we break it down and figure out, okay, what went wrong? How did we disconnect on that? So our goal is to have, I don't know, we haven't even said it completely, but 25 to 30% of our sales coming from consultants. I really do want and need more, um, just the regular leads coming in, natural leads coming in. But those consultant companies really play an important pivotal role in helping brands grow. And their prospects are more educated. They know more, they ask the better questions. And I love, they feel supported from me, but then they also feel supported from their consultant, and they can have a completely different conversation with the consultant than they do with me. And so I feel almost in some ways more confident about those prospects because they're coming just from a leveled up position.
Well, and right, so all sales marketing, all of the above strategy, right? Organic, broker, lead gen. And for everyone, listening, or this advice is amazing Kristen's given, but your brand in your industry and segment very well suited, in my opinion, for brokers, right?
Mhm.
But the key to this is you, right? Because there's that, I mean, you're very clear on mission, what role you fill, types of franchisees, economic opportunity, and then those relationships with the brokers where they're candid. Where I see so many brands go wrong is they think it's just plug and play. Like, I'm going to go to the broker conference or go to their regional event or run an ad in their magazine. And I just show up. And because people are nice to me, I'm going to get deals. The answer there is no.
And
And
you
then
can drop a
other,
lot of money doing that, a lot
well,
of money, and it won't
y-
necessarily come back.
yeah. And right. And so the variable being you, the founder, right? Which then I have another philosophical issue too, which is, sometimes brands think, well, I'm just going to hire a consultant or an outsourced salesperson or a franchise sales organization. They're going to do it for me. What's your take there?
We talked a little bit about that on the last episode of that. We did try that in the beginning,
Right.
and it didn't work. I think though it was more a scenario of just the stage of where we were,
Right.
um, because I wasn't having success either. I mean, or a lot of success. I mean, it just takes time to get that going. I know there are a lot of people out there probably who think, why am I still doing the Fran Dev? I literally take them through all the steps. Isn't there, something better that I should be doing? But to me, that is the most important part because I'm connecting with them. We're having those conversations. I'm setting the expectations right. They're setting the expectations right. To me, and maybe I'd be open to hearing, but I'm sure there's a lot of people think that I'm doing it wrong. But that is so important to me to make sure we're bringing the right people in, because my job is to protect the franchisees and protect the brand. And so I have a hard time thinking that somebody not part of our organization could communicate and sell it the way I do.
Well, and I think it makes sense. And I think over time you're going to evolve where you're building your internal team or you
Right.
building those team members for that while you're curating the whole foundation for the franchise system. So like, and again, I think that was a positive movement this year too, right? So you just brought in those channels. I think you guys are going to kill it in the future, especially because you have genuine value there. So let's plan ahead, at least not from technical detail, but again, this is about building a franchise brand. So as we think about the next year, what are some foundational goals you're focused on?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we did while we took the pause this year is completely revamped our discovery process, which has made it a little bit simpler, not automatic in the way that it's impersonal, but it's clarified it a little more. And I have now I'm working with a CRM that kind of automates some of it, that gives me a little bit more bandwidth. So that's been nice. I also think it gives just more opportunity for high level, really meaty conversation with our prospects. So I love our new process. I sometimes do get a little frustrated though, because I don't have time to do some of the other stuff that I want to do. Because on that note that you said, you and I were talking before this started, we want to do more thought leadership. Um, in this space that we're in, there's no end of avenues and directions and angles that we could use to talk about what we do. Organization is not just about pretty baskets and labels. It is mental health. It is survival. And when you're talking the baby boomers and downsizing, it's so important. It's imperative. So what we do, there's so much awesome stuff to talk about. And so I want to have more of my hand in that in the coming year, and be more of a thought leader in our industry, which then will help our franchisees and help the brand in general.
Kristen, as we wrap up this episode and the where you are today, and I think you guys recently had your conference, right? Your
Mhm.
franchisee conference. So just talk about that a little, about the conference, its value, you think, in terms of the system. But my biggest question is like, how did that make you guys feel? Like you're at your own conference and tell me about that a little.
It's a really cool feeling. It really is. We always say the main objective of our conference is just to get people together and connect and really help them see and grab the value of being part of a franchise system, and that is your fellow franchisees. Really, that sharing of knowledge and building people up, and nobody knows what it's like to run your business but your fellow franchisees. Your spouse doesn't even know. And so I love having that opportunity and seeing people connect and create those relationships. It's also a pretty amazing thing to be standing up there and looking, and I know each one of these people so individually and intimately. And sometimes that's a negative thing because it's hard. You've got to be, have that wall, which I'm not very good about. But we all care so deeply about them. And there is nothing better than seeing them kind of growing into themselves and becoming more confident and like a different person through entrepreneurship. That is, if I could bottle that, that's pretty cool.
I mean, Kristen, think about it. When you guys or you ladies just decided that one day to start this business, do you ever think you'd be at a conference with all your franchisees there?
No, no, that was not the goal. Not one bit. I don't know. Does anybody start a business thinking they're going to franchise it?
I don't, like I shouldn't even be saying this. I don't even know what's real anymore in life. Like it's all one big ride that's kind of fun, and
We're just
I
on
kind of
this ride and we're trying to
yeah.
trying to do the best we
No,
can. Isn't that the
I
truth
mean,
though?
I love that you guys are so passionate. And then, you had our last Frank camp, there were pitches by some really great franchisors. You blew everyone away. And there's going to be a ton of stuff here. But guys, for watching this video, it has to be founder driven, different multiple channels, franchise sales. And it really is a build. And I think the big takeaway from this episode, Kristen, is like sometimes the biggest growth opportunity is hitting that pause button and the calibration. So I'm looking forward to episode 3.
I am
And
too. I am too. Thank you so much. And thank you for kind of making us pause and helping us through that. It was good.
easy part. Thanks, Kristen.
Thanks, Charles.